Thank you. Thank you very much. So they needed some Stephen King nerds up here to talk about their Stephen King movie, and we gladly oblige.
Yeah.
We are so psyched to be here, especially to talk about this movie. And
Well, you know, on our show, we bring creative people on, and they talk about their thing, the thing they've made, but also their favorite Stephen King story, their connection to his work. Who here has read him or loves Stephen King? All right. This book was written before Carrie, before The Stand, before The Shining, before Salem's Lot. He was 19 years old when he finished it, a sophomore in college. He submitted it to a writing contest, and they said no thanks. It sat in a drawer for like 10 years. Then what happened?
well, and then he became established, and he decided to publish it under the name Richard Bachman, along with other stuff, The Running Man, which is also getting a new adaptation this year.
Richard Bachman, rest in peace.
Yes, he's been long dead, probably for the better. His stuff is very dark, as we will be talking about on this panel. So yeah, you want to start?
Well, but this we should say, Uncle Steve kind of referred to this in the opening video, but this was written before reality TV was a thing. There were game shows, but there wasn't any Survivor or Fear Factor, certainly no fictional adaptations like Squid Game or The Hunger Games. Steve doesn't feel like they ripped him off. He's just like, you know, everybody's continuing their own story. Right. The idea of people who are in desperate situations having to compete for survival, that goes back to the caveman times.
It does, and so we have, you know, the long walk questions why it has to be, you know, that this story is still relevant today, and I think it's still a question worth answering and asking, and in order to help us do that, I think we're going to bring some folks up on the stage to help us do that.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to begin with the screenwriter of The Long Walk, and you know him from Outlaws and Angels and last year's Strange Darling. He is recently, as of yesterday, announced to do another King adaptation of The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. Mm-hmm. Welcome, J.T. Molnar.
Yeah. And the next person up, we're going to be bringing up a producer who has had his finger in just about everything scary that you've loved in the last 20 years, including a lot of Stephen King stuff. We're talking It, Salem's Lot, Dr. Sleep, not Stephen King, but The Ring, Grudge, Barbarian, producer Roy Lee.
Now for our actors, he plays Stebbins, contestant number 38, Garrett Wareing.
We also have Arthur Baker, number 6. Please welcome Nyuot.
He is Peter McVries, number 23. You know him from Alien Romulus, David Jonsson.
I think there's at least one more person involved with this movie.
He's a good one.
He's the big bad of this movie, the major who keeps them all marching. He's also Stephen King's online bestie. You'll see him on social media bantering with Mr. King all the time. He's also unforgettable in the recent The Life of Chuck as Albie Krantz. He's playing a slightly different character this time out. He's an actor who's been coming to Comic Cons for over 50 years now. When the first time was with a space movie, I think.
There was some obscure space movie he was in.
Yeah, I don't remember the title. It escapes me. But ladies and gentlemen,
think of it.
Mark Hamill. I wore a Stephen King hat. He had to one-up me and actually go, no, good sir, this is a Richard Bachman tale. I think we want to start with JT and Roy because this is, I don't know if you guys have been as obsessed with following Stephen King stuff as much as we have been, but The Long Walk has had a very long road to the big screen. There have been people from George Romero, Frank Darabont, Andre Overdahl. There's a lot of people who tried to make it and couldn't quite do it. So I'd like to start with them and ask them, like, what was the secret sauce this time out? What made this the version that finally crossed the finish line?
I'll let JT speak because it was the screenplay that got the movie greenlit. This was like the fastest movie that I've got, one of the fastest. From the time of starting development to wrapping the movie was under 2 years. And it was, a lot of it was because of the screenplay.
You're breaking Frank Darabont's heart.
Thank you, Roy. It happened because of a really special confluence of elements that came together. And Roy Lee's a magician. He knew I was looking for something to write coming off a film I directed. He also happened to know Francis Lawrence. And so he knew that I revered Stephen King and loved this novel. And when he asked me if I was interested in writing it, I had to meet Francis, who wanted to direct it. And when we met, we just got along so well, and the movie he wanted to make was the movie I wanted to write. And shortly after, we delivered the script, and we heard Stephen King liked it, and then we heard that Lionsgate liked it, and we got to go into production shortly after. So it was a magical experience.
Can you think of anything specifically from the Bachman book that you felt was necessary to preserve to tell this story? Everything that's adapted gets changed, but was there anything that he wrote that were from his words that you were like, I got to catch that spirit, or I got to use that line, something specific you wanted?
Well, what I do first is I go through the entire book and I read it a number of times, and I underline things that I want to keep, dialogue I'd like to keep, moments I'd like to keep. And the biggest challenge here was the fact that I just underlined so much. It's a really great book, and it's miraculous that he wrote it at that age. But we had to lose things. So in the end, it wasn't something specific, but I wanted to keep, and Francis wanted to do this too. We wanted to keep the DNA and the themes that Stephen King had baked into his original novel. And even though he was writing it about specific things at the time, I feel like the relevance is generational. And so I wanted to make sure we had that beauty and that love and a story of friendship and characters, and also brutality and hopelessness and terror.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I think fans of the book are wondering, all right, Hollywood gets its hands on this story, are they going to tone it down? What can you say to people who are worried about that?
No. Francis and I, once again, I'm a director too, and sometimes the idea of writing for somebody else can be nightmarish. In this case, it was a dream, because when Roy introduced me to Francis, he told me he wanted to go all the way, and I knew that Stephen King wanted us to go all the way, and I knew Lionsgate wanted us to go all the way. So it was one of those things that I knew we could be honest and faithful, and if this book got into the wrong hands, the wrong studio, the wrong filmmakers, it could have been neutered, and I'm very, very grateful we were able to keep the teeth that the book has. This film definitely has teeth.
We heard Uncle Steve in his videos say the movie has hard bark. Does it also have hard bark in addition to teeth?
It has hard bark.
What does hard bark mean?
Is it hard bark teeth?
Yeah, hard bark, and definitely, it definitely has bite, and it needs to. It would be unfair, and I think it just wouldn't work on so many levels if we didn't go all the way. And it's a unrelenting, brave film, I think, with brave performances and heavy, exciting, terrifying themes.
Well, I think for some folks in the audience, they might only really know the trailer so far, so I'd like to introduce them to your characters. So let's start with Garrett, and can you tell us a little bit about Stebbins? What is Stebbins? How does he stand out amongst this group of young men?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I just want to say, how cool is this, y'all? I mean, you sacrificed your time, your effort, your money, you got time off work, you flew across the country to be here. I am so happy to be in this room with you guys amongst
I love you, Garrett.
I love you guys. This blessing does not go unnoticed to me, and I'm so thankful. I am immensely proud to be sitting amongst 4 incredible actors, producers, and writers. This movie is awesome, and I can affirmatively say that. Our script was amazing. Francis Lawrence, who directed The Hunger Games, absolutely amazing. And Stebbins is, in the book, a very complicated character, and that does translate to the screen. JT did a great job at kind of making Stebbins pop in the way of thinking, why is this guy so mysterious? He's hiding something, and fans of the book will know why. But, yeah, there we go. So, throughout the film, we're wondering, why is this guy keeping so much to himself, right? Why does he know so much about the Long Walk? And we follow this mystery throughout the course of the film, and I think that makes it a very enticing character to play. And unfortunately, some way along the walk, I come under with an illness, and it's fun to watch that unfold as well.
Yeah,
He's really good. He's really good in the movie.
I want to reveal a little something that happened just backstage before we came out here. So we all come downstairs in an elevator, all the actors and JT and Roy, and then they see all of the soldiers in the glasses, looking intense, and you guys were all kind of freaked out. You're like, why is this getting under my skin, right? It was a freaky movie to make, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, whenever we would have a death on set, in the book and in the movie, they would do this air horn, and every time I've heard an air horn since then, it was like this response that I've had. But there was a time in my life, we had this major character up here doing this monologue, right? There was a time in my life where I could repeat that monologue to you verbatim because of how many times sweet Mark Hamill said it to us on set. They had so many different setups. We shot that scene for about a week, that intro scene, and I'm sure we all could memorize that by the end of it.
Well, we hope Lionsgate's paying for some therapy for
Yes.
for you.
Yeah. Exposure therapy.
And a massage for my feet.
So tell us about Arthur and how.
Oh,
Okay. Arthur has a fan and Todd has a fan. Tell us about Arthur and what distinguishes him among this group of young men.
Yeah, hello everyone. What Garrett said, we're very grateful and everything. Thank you. And it's such an honor. It's my first time in America, which is great. Yeah, Art Baker is, grew up poor in Baton Rouge. He's a religious fella. He mentions that a lot through the movie. I think he's a very grounded person, and he's a lovable character. I think he holds everyone together, and the journey he goes on. I think it's really beautiful, and it touches who we are as people. The fear, our beliefs. What we believe about others, because I know that's heavy in the movie. But yeah, he's just a lovable character, and I remember reading the script and just flipping, thinking, wow, like, this is real, and the character of Art Baker is just perfect in my eyes. Yeah, so thank you, yeah.
And may I say one thing about this boy? You may not know his name yet, but my God, will you? And he is brilliant in this movie, and I'm so proud of you, man.
Yeah.
It's so cool to be here with you. And if you thought David was good in Alien Romulus, wait till you see him in this.
Well, that's the thing about. Sorry, that's the thing about this story, though, right? Is it's you'd think that this would be a competition where they're out, to sacrifice the others because everybody who's on this walk is in the way of the ultimate prize, but that's not what the story is. It's a story of support and love, and you can't help but love these guys when you're watching the movie or reading the book, and so you actually feel it when they start not making it. And I think that's kind of underlined really in the relationship that David, you have with Cooper Hoffman's Garrity, that Peter McCree's has with Garrity. Feels like the heart of the movie. Is that how you felt it when you read the script?
Yeah, hello.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, hello. This is my second All-Age, and honestly, I'm going to do the same thing that us wonderful boys have been doing. This is awesome. This is so nice. Thank you guys for coming to see movies and supporting movies. I feel honoured to be a part of it. This is awesome. Thank you. Yeah, in answer to your question, I do think it's the heart of the movie in many ways, but I also think this movie has so many other beating hearts, like the relationship between all of us boys, and a lot of a relationship between like the government, you know what I mean, and establishment. I think Stephen King is just an auteur in writing things that end up becoming timeless, and things that we need to just have in the back of our head. But yeah, Cooper, who plays Raymond Garrity, is just amazing, and we developed a very, very tight bond that I think led itself quite well to the movie. So.
Let's hear it for that. That brings us to Mark Hamill and the Major. I love Mark Hamill.
Love you right back.
Mark.
Ooh. Oh, good. Hi, back.
Mark, tell us about the Major. You grew up in a military family. That's what Francis Lawrence told me when he spoke to you about the part. You said, "I know this guy." So who is he?
Well, I did my last 2 years in high school at Yokohama High in Japan, and even though my dad was a Navy, we were on the Marine base, and I'd walk across the parking lot seeing the officers putting these guys through their paces in blazing hot sun. They were just brutal, barking orders, and I'm telling you, things that you never want to. You're sorry that you remember. Like if you vomited, they forced you to eat it. Yeah, I saw that. I hid my eyes. It was horrible. But when Francis talked to me, I said, I know who this guy is because I've seen him firsthand. And the premise itself is so off-putting. It's like, I don't know if I can even see this movie, much less be in it. But what happens is I can't remember in which order, but I read JT's script, I read the novel, and the premise is just a device to get you to the real heart and soul of the movie, which is the experience of the walkers in these extraordinary circumstances. And I was just blown away by the performances. So good. I mean, you see a lot from these guys over the years. I saw you in Alien, but everybody else, except for, I guess, Roman Griffin Davies, I'd seen him in Jojo Rabbit and Cooper in Licorice Pizza. But for the most part, totally unknown, but just amazing performances. I have to tell you, they're and to be in two different Stephen King projects the same year shows you what a versatile writer is, because you couldn't get further away from The Long Walk than The Life of Chuck. It's hard to believe the same man wrote both these stories, neither of which have any supernatural elements at all. So sometimes he's unfairly categorized as a horror writer when, as you pointed out, he's done Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption and The Body, which became Stand By Me. He's just fantastic. And I have to tell you, when we went to the Toronto International Film Festival, they said, you're going to be sitting next to Stephen King. And outwardly, I was like, hi, how do you do? Inwardly, I was like, oh my God, Stephen King! But I didn't do that. I restrained myself. I didn't fanboy all over the place. But I wanted to ask him so many questions, and I thought, well, this isn't the right time. Well, the first thing that amazed me is when I came up, before I even said, how do you do, he said, the Major. I thought, how did he know?
He has his ways.
Yes, well, I asked the Lionsgate people, they said, oh, believe me, he has approval over everything, the script, the director, the cast, everything. But, I was really flattered that he even knew what I was doing. But, it's like I say, the heart and soul of the movie are their experiences in these unimaginable circumstances. And I wasn't around for a lot of that, you know, because I have a lot of exposition to explain the whole thing, and then you follow these guys. I had originally thought, well, I'm going to have the whole cast over at the hotel on a Saturday or Sunday. We'll have a get-together brunch. And Francis Lawrence, the director, says, Cooper Hoffman doesn't want to meet you. I said, really? Why? He goes, he's afraid he might like you. I said, oh, I get it. I understand. I get the process. I respect the process completely, so I canceled the lunch. And I said, and by the way, tell Cooper, I guarantee when he meets me, he will like me.
It's true.
It strikes me that the novel was published in 1979, and you would have been age appropriate to be one of the walkers if
Yeah.
they made a movie then. Do you have a character that you would have wanted to play if they made the movie?
Well, they're all great in different ways. That's what's so good about his writing, is he makes them so distinctive. I mean, the bringing in the mother of one of the characters that humanizes them in a way that he hadn't seen before. I don't think so. I would be happy to play any of those characters, but yeah. Well, listen, I thought it was my idea. I reread the book and I said, oh no, it's in the book. Because I said to Francis, what if I never take my glasses off? Because I want to dehumanize him, make him as much of a cipher or an automaton as I can. When I was prepared to do a really severe military cut and everything, but when I put on the cap, I thought, well, that pretty much does it. I don't really have to do anything with hair. When I put on the glasses, it makes him more and more, unrelatable as a human being. And I thought that was my idea, and I was rereading the book. I think it's in the book that he never takes his glasses off. I'm not sure.
Well, you have a lot of experience playing opposite a character who has sort of covered eyes and a mask.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Guyver. We're talking about the Guyver.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, I never saw it. And it's not because I didn't want to see it. Usually what happens is if they have a premiere or something, I'll always go. But if they just release it, sometimes they don't even tell you. So, and it's always expectations. I've always said one of the reasons I think it worked out for me to play the Joker was right around that time they announced that Michael Keaton was going to play Batman. And all the fans freaked out. Oh, he's Mr. Baum, he's a comedic actor, before they'd even seen it. Now, within weeks of that, they asked me to come in and audition for the Joker, and I thought, normally you have performance anxiety. If you really want something, I tell actors this, even if you don't feel that way, act aloof. Act like you don't care, because there's a certain neediness that can bleed through and make people uncomfortable. But with the Joker, I thought, if they freaked out about Mr. Mom being Batman, how are they going to freak out about Luke Skywalker being the Joker? It's just not going to happen. And because of that, I knew I couldn't get it. I had no performance anxiety whatsoever. I just went in and thinking, I'm going to make them really sorry they can't hire me. And I just let it rip, and I'm driving out of the parking lot real cocky, like, try and find a better Joker than that. And then, of course, the minute they said, you're hired, I went, oh no, I can't do this. I told you I wanted to play a villain that had never been done before, Two-Face or Clayface or, any other character that had not been done before, because I thought, my friend, leave it to another actor to say this. Boy, that's pretty brave. I said, playing the Joker, I said, why? Well, I wouldn't want to follow Jack Nicholson in anything. Oh, no! And that was the only direction, by the way, on the copy. It says, don't think Nicholson. And, I wouldn't do that anyway. But like I say, that really turned my career around in voiceover. I've been getting these parts recently, like in House of Usher. That would have been a routine character for me in voiceover. But to play an amoral, sociopathic lawyer, just pure evil, never on camera. So I really have to thank Mike Flanagan, because he thought outside the box. Yeah, He is amazing, this man. So talented, not only as a director, but as a writer. And then Life of Chuck, I mean, he, again, you couldn't find two more dissimilar characters, and now with the Major, so I'm grateful. I thought this stage of my career I'd be like, you know, spending more time with a metal detector, wandering around the beach, you know, playing with the dogs in the backyard. And I said to my agent, I said, you know what, I mean, I'm not motivated anymore. This is about, I don't know, 10 years ago, 2019. I said, you know, I think I'm gonna just sort of retire and just do voiceover. And the only people that objected were my agent and my wife. Because, you know, it's good to have me out of the house. But what a turnaround. I mean, again, I have to say thank you to Mike Flanagan and Trevor Mason. Because that sort of kicked off this, you know, I didn't expect to be this busy, you know. Wild Robot, The King of Kings, The Long Walk, The Life of Chuck. Oh, and this Christmas, I'm the arch nemesis of SpongeBob in the SpongeBob movie. I love the title. I love the title because it sounds important and it's so not. The SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants. And it's the usual inspired silliness, but great fun. And if I do my job correctly, every child in America will hate my guts.
Let's hear it for Mark Hamill's villain era. All right, there are two people who wish they could be here. They're making a movie overseas and they can't be here. One of the actors who plays one of the boys walking in this, Ben Wang, and director and producer Francis Lawrence. Let's watch a video message from them.
Hey everybody at Comic-Con San Diego, Paul H. Ben and I are really sorry we can't be there with you in person, but we're on set on a movie that we're working on here in Berlin.
Yeah, what's up, Paul H? I was told that there are 5,000 of you, so what's up? Hi, you in the hat, nice hat. We're very bummed that we're missing this, but you're in really amazing hands with our cast. I miss you guys. Yeah, these guys all feel like family to me, you know?
Yeah, and I think that bond really grew on set. You know, it was something that I've never gotten to do in real life, which is to shoot. We shot this movie chronologically, so, you know, as everybody got together and met for the first time, you as actors were meeting for the first time and becoming friends, you know, very early on, and then going on this experience together. And the physicality of this job of walking, you know, sometimes 30,000 steps a day, doing these very, very long takes, I think really like created a bond.
Yeah, it was, I mean, we were in it and it was sort of all for one, one for all. And yeah, we clocked a lot of steps out there in the hills of Saskatchewan. I didn't know Saskatchewan could have that much elevation, but we sure found out together. And it wasn't just endurance, of course, it was also a shared experience. That's what made it so special.
And I think that authenticity shows, you know, I think to see the real bonds between you guys as friends, but also the bonds of you guys as characters, that was something that really drew me to the project. And, you know, your performance alone as Hank Olson, I think added so much levity to what is, you know, quite a dark, intense story, but also some really raw, emotional gut punch moments.
Yeah, and it is one of those things where as the walk goes on, as these characters grow closer together, what you see is that for them, the human bond, the human connection becomes just as important to them as food and water.
Exactly, and that's what really drew me to the story in the first place. It was the sort of camaraderie of these young men and the bonds they form and how they support one another in something that is actually a competition, and you'd think people would be more after and out to get one another, and here it's the friendships and the bonds that really drew me. And the conceit was the other reason that I really got into this movie, the idea of like what the long walk is and could you do the long walk. And I love these kinds of stories where you as the audience can start to put yourselves in the character's shoes and think to yourself, could I do it? Could I do the long walk? Could I walk for that long, over 3 miles per hour? you know, how far could I go if I were to do it? And that's the question we want to ask you, Hall H, is how far could you go? Do you think you could do the long walk? But before you answer, Ben and I are sending you something, a little gift from all of us, all of you guys down there too. Here are the first 22 minutes of the long walk.
Young ones out there, this is an intense, sometimes harsh, harrowing story.
Hard bark.
There
Wait,
is hard
Velvet,
bark
you
on this
might-
thing.
my daughter's here right now.
There might
My daughter's here. She's 4. Velvet, hi. If you're in here, can you walk out of the room? And my wife too.
Well,
You guys
actually-
so much. I
But
love
I
all
just
of you,
have
by
to
the way.
point out that I don't walk at all. I ride in a Jeep the whole movie.
You can watch a few
I'm the
minutes of
best
it.
part.
it's good to be the king.
It is, yeah.
For worried parents out there, we've been asked to convey, this is an intense movie, but Hall H is an all ages show. So, there are a few moments that are especially harrowing, where it might cut to black. Those who are worried, like, oh, did they boulderize the story? Like, don't worry, when you see the movie on September 12th, all of the things that you don't get to see here will be in the movie. But parents, I mean, it's intense still, but you don't have to worry about anything too far.
Just some curse
Man,
words.
it's the
And you
toilet.
saw the Red Band trailer. You already saw Mark with his filthy mouth
Yes.
dropping that.
Velvet, you can
bomb.
stay.
So some curse words, earmuffs for the little ones, and I think that should be about it. Yeah.
That's it, and we're going to be gone when the clip ends, so please let's hear it for the cast and creators of The Long Walk. Thank you for welcoming Eric and I. If you're into Stephen King, please check out the King Cast.